So I decided to reformat my video just a little bit so that anyone who's actually interested in hearing about my art, I'm going to start with that, or art or inspiration or methods or experiments or stuff like that. So that will be the beginning, and it will still be a little bit funny because I cannot help myself. But then at the end of every one of these, I will share one of my funny stories, which is almost always a little bit embarrassing. But when you've embarrassed yourself as much as I have in my life, you have to learn to laugh about it, or like you just be embarrassed all the time. I'd hide in the closet and drink a bottle of wine by myself. So I figure, why not just put it out there and make everyone else laugh and enjoy their day? So here we go. So the first part of this video is actually going to be about how to get into a career without ending up with like 30 years worth of debt. I mean, last year we paid off Marcel's school loans for the first time. He's 48. So I did my schooling a little differently by necessity, and actually it worked out really well for me personality wise. Okay, so my story starts out with being kind of broke. So I'm from a family of 5, and we didn't have a lot of money growing up. And so when I graduated high school, I thought, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. So I moved out of my house, got a job. The place was called Swank Incorporated, and a friend of mine got me the job. Shout out to Lori Steveling. And the job was for a mail girl. So my job was to deliver mail all around this giant factory where they made jewelry. So I'm apparently a little naive because I didn't know that Swank is also the name, or was the name, of a dirty girly magazine. And so people would ask me where I worked, and I said, I work for Swank. Again, with that wiggly eyebrow thing. And I was like, what is that about? And as a side note, from there, I went and started working for a company called Victoria Creations. But coming from Swank and working for a place called Victoria Creations, which sounds a little close to Victoria's Secrets, it did not help my cause. Anyway, that was a little bit of a funny side note. But anyway, so I started working there, and it was actually really fun. Got to deliver the mail all around the office and chat with people. My boss didn't love the chatting as much, but I loved it. But then they had a design job opening, and I thought, I can draw, I can do that. So I applied for the position, got that job, and started working in the design department. So I get this pretty decent job at that point, I was probably about 20, 21. And I could have been happy with that. I could have just said, look, I got great health benefits. I looked around the office one day and everyone just seemed miserable and kind of had like a gray pallor from all the fluorescent lights. And I thought, I got to get out of here. I can't do this. I can't. And I didn't know what I was going to do. But fortunately, my friend Maya, who was my office mate, sat next to me. And she said, RISD, Rhode Island School of Design, they have night classes. You can do one at a time. I had no idea. So I went to actually went there and I got, like a brochure like you do when it's 1997. And and so got the brochure. Then they had a class called Introduction to Decorative Painting. And I thought, that sounds like a lot of fun. But also, I'm going to be paying for a class that sounds a lot like basket weaving. But here I am. We're going to do this. But I paid class at a time, and I paid for it out of pocket. Worked at Victoria Creations, and I ended up driving every weekend. I used to live in Massachusetts, so I drove every weekend to Cape Cod and worked for my aunt at her restaurant, and she paid me handsomely for very little work because she loves me and she knew she was helping me pay for college. So shout out to my adorable and sweet and kind and super generous Aunt Martha. So anyway, I was asked recently to talk to a group of girls. I'll have to look up the name of the program. It's Olympia Snow. I believe she puts together this program, and it's really awesome. And it's about empowering girls. And so that was a story I told because I think it's really hard for a lot of people to afford college these days. And I just wanted to encourage people to try it another way, because you don't have to go that same route as everyone else unless you want to. But nobody ever asked me, do you have a bachelor's in art? I have a certificate from RISD, and it's kind of adorable and cute, but I got what I needed. I got all the classes I wanted without the math because I'm really bad at math. And I had a blast. I did one at a time, one class at a time, met some great people. Ended up working on some murals with some other artists, got introduced to other artists doing murals and faux finishing. And that's how I got into the business. And it was wonderful. So I paid for it out of pocket again, didn't leave with any school loans. And I'm like 20, how many, 20 years later, I'm still doing it. So that's my little pep talk for, I was going to say for the young people, but it's for anybody. Maybe you hate your job. You shouldn't hate your job. You should love your job so you can get up every day and be excited about it. So just do that. Go to school if you can, and just try to figure something else out. Because if we were all loved our jobs, we'd be so much happier as a, world. But anyway, and now for my funny story. And I think this is a pretty good one. So graduation day from RISD, I invited my sister and my mom, and I thought, I'm going to get dressed up and wear this adorable sundress. And it was the year when it was really hard to find shoes that weren't heels. And at 5'11", it's already a lot. So I couldn't find any. So I thought, okay, I'm just going to go with this. And I found these very adorable, strappy, heeled sandal things that I should not wear. I can barely walk without falling over. So I decided those were for me. So the first thing that happened was I ran down the stairs to get there because I was late for no reason. And I fell down the stairs like face first, like a flying squirrel outside my apartment onto the pavement. And I was so excited to be getting my certificate. I just dusted my raw hands off and got in the car. And I'm standing up there receiving my little certificate, so proud of myself. And my mom and my sister in the audience. And I'm kind of like panning around as we're all standing there getting our certificates. And I was like, oh, everyone just seems really happy for me. They're all smiling. And I was like, wow, what a supportive group. And then I pan over to my sister and my mom, and they're doing that thing where their shoulders are like wiggling because they're trying not to laugh. I can even see the tears starting. And it's just like this the whole time. And I'm like, what the hell is happening? What are they doing? So I get off the stage and I look at them. I'm like, what is wrong with you? Oh my God. And they could not even speak. They were laughing so hard. So it turns out my adorable little sundress that I had, my position in line was right in front of a window with the sunlight behind me. And it was coming right through the dress and you could see right through it. So people were not smiling at me because they were supportive. They were smiling at me because they could see through my dress. And so there you go. That is your story for the day. You're welcome. And hopefully I'll be doing more of these. I'm going to call it, these particular videos are going to be called Art and Nonsense. So you're welcome.